Welcome in, Chargers fans. Uh, I'm going to be posting a video right before I post this one about my thoughts on last night's game, but this video I want to say I'm excited for. I do love the draft. I love the offseason, free agency, but especially the draft. So maybe a sliver of me is excited for the Chargers' opportunity to get better in the draft just because of how much I love it. Even though, if you watch that other video, we do now have to embrace the darkness, as I said. But this video gonna be a quick 3-round mock draft. I've watched film on some of the receivers, some of the corners in this draft, but I haven't dived that deep yet. Now that the Charger season is over, I'm probably going to start putting out some more videos, some prospect breakdowns, draft videos, mock drafts, Charger specific stuff as well. Quick overview on what I think the Chargers' needs are. A new GM, a new head coach, a new offensive coordinator, a new defensive coordinator to start. But draft wise, I would say for sure, one or two wide receivers. There's a couple of names that I like in this draft. We need deep speed, speed in general. We need somebody who's just dynamic with the ball in their hands, explosive. I'm thinking, I hate to say Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, even a Debo Samuel, somebody who is explosive laterally and vertically. Who's the kid from Purdue? Kid from Purdue on the Cardinals. His name is escaping my mind, but in that realm, that's really two different skill sets. If it turns out to be one player, I'm okay with that, but we need deep speed to stretch the field, and we need somebody who is explosive in this offense. We have nobody who is explosive in this offense. They catch the ball, they're not going to take it to the house. They're going to get tackled immediately. But wide receiver for sure. On the offensive side of the ball, a guy like Darnell Washington is intriguing, but a lot of teams and people are saying that there's a chance he goes in the first round. If he goes in the first round, I'm not interested. Late second, I would have a conversation about. If he's in there in the third, absolutely. But other than that, I hate to say that we're good at tackle. If we re-sign or extend Pipkins, Slater comes back, and we have Salyer as a swing tackle, that's pretty solid, and I would take 3 deep at tackle. I would also, Corey Linsley still has a couple of years. I think Matt Filer's contract might be up. So the interior of our offensive line is something to think about, and it could end up being a player who played tackle in college and we want to convert to a guard. But I do think that somewhere in the draft we should address offensive line with at least one pick. Maybe probably not in the first 3 rounds. I think that you can still get some solid quality guards for day one later in the draft. You look at Trey Smith, he came in, was very good. You look at Zion Johnson, our first round pick, who so many Chargers fans were thrilled about, and he got kind of cooked the entire year. Seems like a couple times a game he would completely whiff on a block, and Justin would get sacked. Momentum would be killed for that drive. Last game he had 2 or 3 penalties as well. One where he was literally 10 or 15 yards down the field on a pass play. Have no idea what he was doing there, but not a big fan of using first or second round picks on low positions of value, especially first round picks though. Defensive side of the ball, I think D-line in general, especially edge. We have Mac, we have Bosa, yes. Might discuss some trades in future videos, but we need depth at edge. Kyle Van Noy did step up the last couple of games, but we need edge rushers. And my opinion on truly dominant defensive tackles have changed or has changed a little bit. A guy like Jalen Carter, I mean, Jalen Carter, Brian Brzee, those are, well, I don't want to even put those two in the same conversation. Jalen Carter is nearly a unicorn, but if you can get yourself a Christian Wilkins, Dexter Lawrence, Aaron Donald, Chris Jones, guys like that, there's not many of them in the NFL, and there's a good amount of solid edge rushers. So if guys like that do slip, I'm okay using first round picks on guys who can impact both pass rush and run defense and stay on the field for a lot of snaps. Still not huge Jordan Davis in the first round guy, just like last year, because one, he can't stay on the field very much. He gets gassed and isn't a very good pass rusher. So D-line in general, and then I would possibly be interested in bringing Bryce Callahan back for another year, but he is injury prone. He is old. Wouldn't put too much stock into it. I do want to bring Michael Davis back. And if JC is healthy, we would have JC, Asante, and Michael Davis, yes. But JC coming off huge injury, and we might not bring Michael Davis back. But I would definitely be interested in a corner. We're probably not going to bring Nasir Adderley back, but we do have Derwin and Alohi Gilman. And we drafted Woods in the 3rd round last year. Horrible pick. Mark Webb might still be on our practice squad. So safety at some point in the draft could be open to it, but mainly D-line and corner is what I'm thinking. For defense, I adjusted the draft order a little bit just based on predictions, I think. Dolphins are probably going to lose to the Bills. They're playing right now. So I think that they would be technically picking right ahead of us, but their pick was forfeited. And then if the Ravens lose, like they're probably going to, they would be drafting after us since we have an easier strength of schedule. And then these are the settings that I use. Some try and get it to be the most realistic. And I don't think that there's a way to turn on like computer drafts, but there are going to be some funky picks in this draft just because the Bears at 1 are probably going to trade out, but I'm just doing Chargers here and first 3 rounds. So let's start it. Round 1, I don't think I'm looking wide receiver too much because there's no way Quentin Johnston is going to be on the board for us, even if a guy like Jackson Smith and Jigba or Jordan Addison was on the board. Jordan Addison I would possibly consider, not Jackson Smith and Jigba. He's slot only, limited athletically. That's not what we're looking for. I want to say that Jared Verse is going back to college. Actually, that would be, I don't want to get pooped on. Jared Verse to call back to Back to Florida State. Normally PFF is decent. Yeah, he is returning, which seems crazy after a breakout season. We're probably going to go in the first round. So first time I ran through it, I ended up drafting Christian Gonzalez. He's very athletic, but that did also make me realize that there's a little... Actually, let's see what this trade is. Probably not going to do it. Pick 34, that's extremely tempting. First mock draft, not going to trade though, as tempting as it is. There is a little bit of meat on the bone at the beginning of the second round, I would say, of corners with Christian Gonzalez. He's probably going to go earlier in the first, but Joey Porter, Clark Phillips, Devon Witherspoon. I haven't watched Garrett Williams, but those are all pretty solid corner prospects, and that could end up being a need for the Chargers, and it's an extremely important position. That being said, I have seen BJ Ojulari play for many years now here at LSU. Not very interested in Josh Downs. He's I'm trying to think of a good player comparison. I don't think he has great straight line speed. I don't think so. Could be wrong, but he's shifty. He seems pretty athletic. But I just want somebody a little bit more explosive, who I'm going to get to in a second, but not here in the first round. Trenton Simpson, Antonio Johnson, Broderick Jones. Can't do Broderick Jones. He's more of a slightly developmental and pass protection tackle, and that's not something we really need. I might just go BJ Ojulari because I would know what we're getting. I haven't watched any Felix Anadiki Uzoma, butchered that. And Jared Verse isn't actually available. But BJ Ojulari, pretty solid pass rusher, pretty athletic. I want to say that he's on the older side. It might be Ali Gay who's on the older side though. But BJ Ojulari, solid edge player all around, has some solid pass rush moves, is going to be able to get after the quarterback, and is coming from a blue blood program. We need somebody who can play a lot of reps at edge to give Joey and Khalil rest. I mean, it almost feels weird saying give Joey and Khalil rest for next year, because I don't even know what's going to happen to this team. But round one, there are a lot of tempting things to do here. Not very tempted by Siaki Ika, but corners, definitely very interesting. But I'm going to go with BJ Ojulari. Round 2 and 3 for the Chargers. That's where I'm starting to look at wide receiver a lot more. The names that I have on my list as of right now: Zay Flowers, Jalen Hyatt, Trey Palmer. I mean, I'm sure that there's significantly more who would fit well with the Chargers, but as of right now, those are the guys that I'm looking for. See, Jalen Hyatt, a lot of people have him going in the first round. If he's here in the second, it would be tempting. I like Hodges Tomlinson as well at corner. Rome Odunze, I think, just announced that he's returning. Dalton Kincaid, I know that the guy from Guilty as Charged loves Utah and loves him. So I don't know how athletic he is though, and speed and athleticism with tight ends is incredibly important. You literally just run crossing routes, and if you're able to outrun linebackers or safeties, that's like the most important part of the position. Not interested in trading that far back. So let's peek at the receivers here. This is the stretch that I'm looking for. Jalen Hyatt, Trey Palmer, Zay Flowers. Zay Flowers would probably be available in the next round, but I'm going to go Jalen Hyatt here in the second round. He has produced in the SEC hugely. I don't even know if that's the right word, but he had a monster year. True deep threat. Not going to be the get the ball in his hands. He's going to break tackles and run through a bunch of guys for a touchdown, but that can be addressed by somebody else. What we need is somebody who is a capable route runner who has decent hands, but Jalen Hyatt has elite deep speed. He's not necessarily Jameson Williams. Jameson Williams was a little bit more explosive with the ball in his hands. I think a little bit better for route runner, but Jalen Hyatt is going to be faster than Jalen Guyton. Think about Jalen Guyton, but faster and way more potential and younger. I think that's kind of what Jalen Hyatt is going to be. He should run, my guess would be high 4.2s in the 40. I thought he was going to be taller than he was. He's only like 6 feet, but the dude, it doesn't look like his legs are moving that fast, but he outruns everybody, and that's what you like to see. Jahmyr Gibbs still on the board, not even remotely tempted by a running back, but this is going to be a pretty good running back class. Zay Flowers is still on the board, as is Trey Palmer, as is Jaquelin Roy. See, this is tough because going into the year, Roy was supposed to be one of the best interior pass rushing D tackles, and he had a solid year for LSU. I'm not going to take 2 LSU D linemen in this draft, though. What I am probably going to do is Elias Ricks. I'm also mildly interested in. Yeah, I gotta dive into this more, but Zay Flowers, honestly, because I've been seeing some chatter today about Keenan Allen possibly getting traded because he has one of the most tradable contracts. He is old. I would like to get some young receivers in the room before we get rid of Keenan so that they can kind of learn from Keenan. He's an all-time route runner, very special, very smart. But I think that if we could have, you just need weapons, and you need a lot of them, as seen by this year when we lost Mike and Keenan. We just had nothing on offense. Even when we lost just Mike, we had nothing on offense. You need high-end weapons, but you also need depth of weapons, and it was almost sickening to watch how stagnant and how piss poor the Chargers offense was without Mike Williams. We need to get Justin weapons, and I think even if we keep Keenan and Mike, I still want to draft at least, and Josh Palmer, of course, still want to draft at least one receiver. But if we get rid of one of them, or Jalen Guyton, I want to bring in 2 in the draft. And I think a guy like Jalen Hyatt, who could potentially be an every down guy, deep threat, explosive, take the top off of a defense, any given play, make the defense back off of Justin and a run game a little bit. That is what Jalen Hyatt can do. What Zay Flowers can do, he is much more explosive laterally with a ball in his hands, much better route runner. I mean, he's going to be your separator. Keenan, great separator for just in terms of route running, but once he gets the ball in his hands, he's limited. Zay Flowers, yes, obviously still has room to grow as a route runner and a receiver in general, as does every single rookie, but he has pretty good straight line speed, but one of the more explosive, one of the more incredible athletes that I've watched as well. Mike Renner worded it as, it seems like he gains speed coming in and out of cuts, which, I mean, isn't obviously the case, but, or isn't the case, but he just sinks so low and is so explosive, and like, I can't even describe it. Just watch his film. I think getting the ball in Zay's hands, having him in the red zone to separate, having him as a safety blanket for Justin, and like other than Austin Eckler, having him run underneath routes. I mean, Zay, it seems like he can kind of do everything other than what Mike Williams does. I don't know if you're going to want to throw up 50-50 balls, but we need athletes in this Chargers offense. We don't have any. Getting Jalen Hyatt and Zay Flowers, two different skill sets, but both explosive. I think that could be the move, especially if we move on from Keenan Allen. Trey Palmer is another name to watch. He's got pretty decent straight line speed. I would say less so than Jalen Hyatt, but, and I mean, didn't have as big of a season. He played at Nebraska. He transferred from LSU, but Trey Palmer is another explosive guy to keep your eye on. They gave us B- for BJ Ojulari, D- for Jalen Hyatt. I have to watch his tape more. I think I could agree with that, but trail end to the second, I think that's not bad. Plus the fact that Jalen Hyatt's probably going to end up going in the first round. It's a lot of media hype, and guys who are fast get pushed up the boards, rightfully so. But Jalen Hyatt tail into the second, that's probably not even actually going to be able to happen. Zay Flowers also probably going to go in the second round, possibly the first, for sure the second though. But I think starting off the draft similar to this, we need to address the D-line with 1 or 2 picks, O-line with at least 1 pick, probably later in the draft. We need to address corner at some point. I think that second round might be the meat of the draft for corners, and then wide receiver. It's going to be tough to see how these receivers shake out over the next couple months. But Jalen Hyatt, Zay Flowers, Trey Palmer are some names to keep your eye on. Let me know down in the comments some prospects, some positions of need that you guys think the Chargers have, and really just live in the dark with me in the existence of being a Chargers fan. I will see you guys in the next video.